All right, get ready to dive into some seriously fascinating political waters with us today. You probably saw the news already, but former Thai Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra, after 15 years of self-imposed exile, has been appointed as a personal advisor to Malaysian PM Anwar Ibrahim.
Yeah, and not just any advisor, you know.
Right.
This is all in preparation for Malaysia's chairmanship of Asean in 2025.
Yeah.
Even more interesting, this announcement happened while Thailand's current PM, Paetongtarn Shinawatra, was on an official visit to Malaysia.
Wow. Talk about family ties in the highest places.
And she's Thaksin's daughter, by the way.
It's almost Shakespearean, right? This whole situation. This deep dive today is going to be all about this appointment. So
Yeah.
we're going to explore all the political moves, the personal stories of these two leaders. Both had these dramatic downfalls and even more dramatic comebacks. And what does this all mean?
Right. What does it all mean for the future of Southeast Asia?
Exactly.
One thing that's really striking is how Anwar Ibrahim emphasized getting Thaksin's experience as a statesman.
It's a huge sign of respect.
Absolutely, not only to Thaksin, but also to Paetongtarn being there on her visit.
Definitely. A very calculated move with lots of layers of meaning, for sure. But maybe a quick refresher for anyone who needs it. Let's quickly sketch out who these major players are. Thaksin, we mentioned, was a business tycoon before he got into politics. He founded the Thai Thai Party and served as PM from 2001 to 2006. Then, bam, a military coup.
Out he goes.
Gone.
And that's the start of those 15 years of exile, right?
Exactly.
He just returned to Thailand this past August, imprisoned immediately, but then released on parole just a couple of months later.
It's been a wild ride, even for someone who's used to the political spotlight as much as Thaksin.
For sure.
And then we have Anwar Ibrahim on the other side of this handshake.
Yes.
A longtime figure in Malaysian politics, championing reform democracy. But also, he's faced some really, really tough times himself.
Nearly 2 decades of tough times. In and out of prison on charges that many believed were, well, politically motivated.
Yeah.
It wasn't until 2018.
Oh, this is a crazy twist.
Right. Worthy of a political thriller. His old rival, Mahathir Mohamad, teams up with him. And then he's pardoned, able to fully return to the political scene.
It's incredible. And now, here they are, both Anwar and Thaksin, back in the center of it all. What interesting to me is how similar their paths have been. Both rose to the top, experienced all that power, suffered these devastating setbacks, and yet here they are again, shaping the political scene.
Yeah, it really shows their resilience, that's for sure. But it's also interesting how different their paths were to get to this point, you know?
Right.
Thaksin chose exile, Anwar went through imprisonment, but they both navigated these really, really challenging periods, and honestly, I think they came out even more influential.
So this appointment, it's more than just a political partnership, right? It's like these two incredibly strong wills coming together, two people who have seen real adversity and refuse to be pushed aside. What does that kind of experience bring to the table? That's what I'm dying to figure out.
It's fascinating how we see not just their political paths, but also their personal journeys kind of converging here. Yeah.
Think about it. Both men are in their late 60s, early 70s. They've been through things that would have destroyed a lot of people. This partnership, it's built on something much deeper than just agreeing on some political goals.
That's what really grabs me. We're not just talking about practical stuff here, are we? There's almost, dare I say, a kinship. Two people who get what it means to hold power, what ambition costs, and just how much tenacity it takes to get back to the top.
Yeah, that shared experience, it's powerful. It's that understanding of fighting for your vision, enduring setbacks, and coming back swinging. That's a powerful force, and you can't just negotiate that or write it into some agreement.
Absolutely. It's something much bigger. It makes me wonder if this was almost inevitable. Two guys cut from the same cloth, brought together by circumstance, and they share this understanding of the political arena. Very few others can even grasp it.
It's a really interesting thought. And on top of it all, this is happening as Malaysia gets ready to lead ASEAN. It adds a whole other layer of complexity. Right. This is not just Thailand and Malaysia anymore. It's about how these two, with their experience and resilience, might reshape how things work within ASEAN. I can't wait to dig into that more.
When we talk about their impact on ASEAN, we can't forget both Thaksin and Anwar. They built their careers on populism, right?
Right, appealing directly to the people.
To the needs of the people, often the people who felt ignored by the existing power structures.
Really interesting point. It obviously worked, voters responded, and both men went right to the top. But it also made them a target. like we've seen.
Exactly. It's a double-edged sword, that direct connection. It gets them to the top, but then they're open to accusations, right? Saying they're using people's needs for their own gain. And both Thaksin and Anwar have dealt with those accusations throughout their careers.
Absolutely. And those allegations, whether they were true or not, they've definitely shaped how things have gone for them. You said earlier, Thaksin chose exile, Anwar went to prison. But the main thing is neither of them just faded away.
Right. They both stayed influential even when they weren't at the center of power.
Right. Thaksin, for example, he remained this powerful symbol, for his supporters in Thailand, and his whole political machine kept running even when he wasn't there.
And you might not know this, but during his exile, Thaksin actually became the owner of Manchester City Football Club.
True. And it showed how smart he was with business, way beyond Asia. And it kept him in the public eye, but in a whole different way.
He was playing the long game, just waiting for the right moment to come back.
And Anwar did the same thing, but he did it within the Malaysian legal system. Used his time in prison to write, connect with supporters, and plan his political comeback. Very carefully.
It's almost like they were each in their own resilience school,
Yeah.
Different lessons, but ending up at the same place.
And those lessons, those years spent getting their political instincts sharp, building that resilience, that's what makes this partnership so powerful, potentially.
And when you say resilience, I think of that Nelson Mandela quote, "The greatest glory in living lies not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall." Yeah, it perfectly sums up Thaksin and Anwar, right?
It really does.
They've lived that quote. It shows that real leadership, it's not about avoiding the setbacks, it's about how you handle them.
And now they're taking that hard-won wisdom to ASEAN.
Which brings us to the question, what could their combined influence do for the region?
Given Thaksin's history, I'm curious, do you think he'd push for closer ties with China? Or would he want a more balanced approach within ASEAN?
That's a big question. A lot of analysts are asking that. Thaksin has always been practical. When he was prime minister, he built strong ties with China. He knew how important they were becoming economically and politically.
But things have changed, right? There's more worry within ASEAN about how assertive China is being in the South China Sea, and people really want a more unified response from the region.
Absolutely. And that's where Anwar's leadership in ASEAN is crucial. He's been very clear, wanting a stronger stance towards China, saying ASEAN needs to speak with one voice on things like those maritime disputes and territorial claims.
So we might see a really interesting dynamic here. Thaksin knows Chinese politics and business so well, and Anwar is committed to a strong, unified ASEAN.
It could be a turning point for the region. Will they find common ground? Will they use their experience together to handle this really complex geopolitical landscape? Those are the questions that will shape what ASEAN does in the next few years.
It's a lot to think about, and we're really just getting started. But before we go too far, let's go back to the personal side for a minute. What do you think this partnership, working together in ASEAN, means for Thaksin and Anwar personally?
On the one hand, it shows how resilient they are, that they can overcome so much and still matter in politics.
It's like a final chapter almost.
Right.
A chance to use what they've learned, all that hard experience, to shape a region that means so much to them both.
But there's also risk involved. What happened in their past, those controversies, they're still there. Some people will be skeptical, even suspicious about this partnership.
It's high stakes, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And the whole world will be watching, not just Southeast Asia.
This appointment goes beyond politics, right? It's about two people who have defied what people expected. They went through things that would have sunk others, and now they're off together into uncharted waters, carrying all that history on their shoulders.
I love that analogy. It really captures it. The opportunity, the uncertainty around this partnership.
And that's what makes it so interesting, isn't it?
Definitely.
We're seeing this moment where two amazing journeys collide, and we really don't know what the outcome will be.
It's the kind of story that reminds us politics are rarely predictable, and the most unlikely partnerships sometimes lead to huge shifts.
It makes you think, what are Thaksin and Anwar really hoping for? What's their end goal with this?
What drives these two men?
After everything.
Yeah.
I think for both Thaksin and Anwar, it's that they really believe in their vision for their countries and the whole region.
Yeah.
They see themselves as people who can make change happen, as individuals who can actually make a difference in people's lives.
And that desire to make a difference, that purpose,
Yeah.
it probably gets stronger after all the setbacks they faced, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's like they've been tested, by fire, and they come out more determined.
Right.
They face their own political I don't know, mortality almost.
Right.
And they came out on the other side. That changes you. It gives you a whole new perspective on what's really important.
And maybe it also makes you appreciate collaboration more.
Hmm.
Finding those allies who want the same things, even if they used to be your rivals.
Think about Anwar and Mahathir. That relationship was broken for so long, but they found a way to fix it.
Wow.
For the greater good, for their shared vision for Malaysia.
It really shows that in politics, and maybe in life too, you sometimes have to let go of those old fights.
Yeah.
Forgive, even if it's just to reach a goal together.
And that ability to sort of separate things, the personal stuff from the political, both Thaksin and Anwar are good at that. It's how they make these alliances, even with people who used to be against them.
So for our listeners, what can we all learn from Thaksin and Anwar's stories? What do their experiences, the resilience, the unexpected alliances tell us?
I think their stories remind us that setbacks, even the huge ones, don't have to define us.
Right.
We can choose to learn from them, adapt, and come back stronger.
Find the strength to keep going. Keep fighting for what you believe in, even when it seems impossible.
Absolutely. And realize that sometimes success comes from partnerships you don't expect, from allies who share your vision, even if it seems strange at first.
I think that's a powerful message for anyone who's going through tough times.
Yeah.
In their work, their relationships, or just trying to grow as a person.
And maybe the most important thing, their stories show us the importance of hope. Even in the worst times, when things seem impossible, there's always that little bit of hope, that belief that things can improve, that we can make a better future.
I love that. So, as we wrap up this deep dive into this surprising partnership between Thaksin Shinawatra and Anwar Ibrahim, I think we're left feeling amazed and excited. Amazed by how resilient they both are, and excited to see what they might do together in ASEAN.
It's a story that's still happening, a political drama that's important for the whole world, and one thing's for sure, it'll keep us all interested for years to come.
Keep following this story, everyone. Watch as these two leaders, with their triumphs and controversies, try to navigate the complicated world of Southeast Asian politics and see what legacy they leave on the region. It's a story that reminds us that politics are full of surprises and that sometimes the most unlikely partnerships can change the world as we know it.